to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm just trying to limber up, too, because, like, I haven't...
I have a couple of incidents. Super random and kind of pointless, but I think they'll laugh at them. We'll get into that in a little bit, but
we'll get into that in a minute. We had Festivus. We're going into Thanksgiving. So at the end of this, we're going to actually try to give some thanks. You saw our rants last time. We're still not having the best time.
LOL.
We're trying to have fun. Because that's what this show is, right? It's fun.
It's supposed to be fun. It's
supposed to be
depressing all the time. Certainly that's not what I would like. I would rather be happy than be angry.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, we look at this team from a very, like, critical eye, even through fandom.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we're supposed to do, I think.
You're a journalist-ish. I'm a media person-ish. Like,
yeah,
it meshes well, right?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Get the best of both, I would say.
You would think. You would hope from two guys who's like, this has been our passion project for going on 3 years now.
Yeah, and because of that, I am excited to do this show, even as bad as things have been.
Yeah, and I think
I'm going half glass full today. We'll see how long
you're going. Yeah, because you were you were full glass empty last show.
Would you say that was half glass empty, or would you like?
I think you took it and just dumped it like this.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's why I said full glass.
I feel like I just kind of like chucked the glass on the ground, and I was like, actually, the glass is broken.
I was gonna say there's shattered glass all over the floor. And...
Yeah. Someone get a broom and sweep this up. Like teams are probably going to be sweeping the Blue Jackets in their season series.
Oh boy. 4-11 and 4 isn't fun.
Yeah, I do want to apologize to you for taking so long to get ready today to do this show. Obviously, with tomorrow being Thanksgiving, and the two of us hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving whenever you.
And this will probably be posted on Thanksgiving, so we hope you have a lovely holiday.
I'm thankful for you guys, the people who actually listen to us. I'm thankful for you.
Of course.
In order to prepare for today, I had to do a whole bunch of cleaning around the house. So, in honor of that, speaking of cleaning house.
Oh boy.
We're not going to go into that immediately. I just wanted to
wow. That was just like, oh, okay. All right. But first of all, we do have to at least try to give a little bit of kudos to guys. And what better way to do that with our Kepi Keepers by our friends at DraftKings. So bet on the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Taking a look at money lines. We are going into a game. Obviously, this is posted day after. Round 1 of Bedard versus Fantilli is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder who will win that matchup.
I kind of really want to see Bedard and Adam take the opening face-off together.
That'd be pretty big.
Yeah, pretty sick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, we get Fliggy and Jonesy are paying a visit, and we'll see how that goes off ice, right?
Oh yeah, maybe that'll be a nice little uplifting moment for the Blue Jackets. Just even though he's not on the team, just seeing Nick Foligno might make him feel better.
Yeah, maybe. We're actually favored on the money line for this game, which is wild. We're a -148 for this, which tells you everything you need to know about what's going on between both of these teams right now.
Should literally just be a pick'em. This should literally just be a pick'em. Nobody should be favored in this game. It should literally just be like you win the same amount of money if you bet on the Blue Jackets or the Blackhawks.
No, exactly. Like you just get your money back. It's a free. It's like that
Yeah.
would be pretty
Yeah.
interesting. This is a fun one though with the Rangers and the Penguins. Penguins in a little bit of a wishy-washy start, and the Rangers off to probably their best start yet.
God, the Rangers are phenomenal right now. Up and down the lineup, they're getting contributions. They look really good. Obviously, the record reflects it. Not only are they getting good goaltending from Igor, which is to be expected.
Jonathan Quick too.
It's turning the clock back. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
You win a Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights, and suddenly you resurrect your career.
Hi.
What happens in Vegas, baby?
What happens in Vegas and what happens
in Vegas allegedly goes to New York.
And what happens in Vegas can happen on DraftKings. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting. Just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please pay responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. You can tell it's like that point in the afternoon where the slump is starting to happen.
Oh, well, that's okay. We're used to talking about slumps.
Yes, we are, unfortunately. And we're going to try to hand out some Keppies for this. I will probably bat lead off.
You will have to go first because I went first last time.
Yeah. You know what?
There's only one person I have in mind, and if you take them, I'm going to be upset.
There's one positive over the last 2 games within this slide that I'm thinking of. And he wears my jersey number, the new number 9. Ivan Provorov finally getting his first goal of the year against Washington.
And then he got an assist on the Jenner goal. Jenner deflected it, but he got
went right off of Boone's leg, right?
Like, which was quite funny. Big ups to Flyers fans for that. I thought it was very, very funny. Flyers fans are great. I really do. It's a fan base I enjoy. Like, I know people talk about like Philly sports fans and whatnot, but Philly is one of those like very passionate, loud fan bases that I actually really like because I think they're funny.
Well, one of our earliest friends within the hockey fandom, shout outs to our buddy Kevin List.
Yeah.
He
still messages me on Twitter pretty frequently, and he's always got something funny to say.
I mean, he was the comedian like early on within like the little circle that we had.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a buddy Drew who actually went to the game. He was a part of the Provorov booing. I thought it was funny. Drew's not going to like my answer because I know it was kind of pissing him off throughout the night. But the one player that I actually want to give credit to for doing something that I think the Blue Jackets need, even though I probably would take this player out of the lineup for this game if I could, because I think that I'd like to make some shifts in the bottom 6. I'm going to give it to Matthew Olivier for going after Hathaway. He did that repeatedly throughout the night. That's a guy who was standing up for his teammate Zach Werenski because of the hit that happened on opening night.
Right.
I know it's not anything major, but it's the little things that matter, and that's one of the things it's one of the reasons we brought in Matthew Olivier. Was to do this, and over last season as well as this season, he has shown time and time again that he's willing to step up and do this. And in the midst of a 9-game losing streak, when there's not a lot of positives, I can at least look at that and say that's a guy who cares.
Yes. So Provi, Matthew, I feel like with the way we've been going through with the results in terms of box score and everything like that, looking for intangibles and fun things like that is where we need to go with these.
Yeah, intangibles is a place that we need to go with these because those are the very, very small moral victories that we have to cherish.
I understand I understand the use of the phrase moral victories within what we're going through right now, but the fact that it's become such a broken record is just
Yeah.
like
I at least give Pascal Vincent credit for understanding that like he can't go in front of a microphone and say moral victories again.
I would
got
hope
to
he
a point,
doesn't
I think it was
anymore.
around like 6 where he's like, okay, I'm tired of saying this shit. I'm gonna just
Yeah, can I find a new way to say this?
I'm gonna go to anger. Anger. People will relate to anger. So
Angie Pazzy.
oh gosh.
Um,
Where do we even want to begin?
let me see with okay, so let's just get uh the big blow on the blue line out of the way really quick.
And that's something I wanted to bring up because I looked at this and my eyes kind of just went out of my head with laughter. With laughter. Not at the injury. Well, the injury sucks. I'm very sad about the injury. So
Damon Severson is going to miss 6 weeks. An oblique injury.
yeah, I want to read to you games played for Damon Severson. If you don't think that the Blue Jackets are cursed in any way, since 2016 onward, 80 games, 76 games, 82 games, 69, but that was the COVID season, so he played every game. 56, again, another COVID
every
season.
game.
Every game. 80, 81. He has missed. Let me count here, just to make sure my math is correct, Jake. 2 plus 6, that equals 8. Plus 1 equals 9. He has missed 11 games since 2016 before going to the Blue Jackets. He's going to miss 6 weeks. Second, Damon Severson somehow is only one of 2 players on the Blue Jackets who is a plus this season. He is a +1. The other one, Justin Danforth, is a +6.
Look at Danny go, huh?
Yeah. Kroll, Dima, Olivier, Yerchek are all evens.
Okay.
And funny enough, there's nobody like super egregiously like there's no like significant gap. Like we have
There's no huge minuses.
We have 6 guys who are -6 and 3 guys who are -7, but like nobody's like after that like a -15 or anything like that.
Right. So it's not awful.
Yeah, it's just collective. It's consistent.
Because here's the thing, and obviously we're going to miss Damon. He's like bar none been, as much as he's been picking it up,
he's probably been our most effective defenseman this season. I know he has his faults and people have noted about those, but I promise you, when he's gone, you'll miss him. Devils fans are going through that right now. There are a lot of Devils fans who are kind of looking at their blue line, and obviously we're stoked about Luke Hughes and eventually Simon Nemec will come up, but they're kind of looking at their situation right now like, oh, losing Severson and Ryan Graves is hurting our blue line a lot more in the present than we thought it would.
Yes.
And I think we're going to experience that. Granted, it will be an opportunity for someone else to step up, whether that's an Andrew Peak or an Adam Boakfist. So,
Boki is getting the slot. Sorry.
He is?
Boki's getting the slot next to Zach with the Chicago game.
So all you can hope for is that player steps it up and takes advantage of his situation. You obviously never wish for injury, but in the midst of injury is opportunity. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens with Adam Boakfist, because this is a guy who's fighting for his Columbus Blue Jackets job right now.
Right. The pairs are Z, Boakfist,
I like that.
Provorov, Juracek, and we know that works.
That works. I like that.
We know that works because we've
Yes.
seen it.
Provorov and Jurček works. Werenski and Severson's been our best pair.
And then that leaves Bean with Goody. Again.
Which has been just a roller coaster of a defensive pair. Yeah.
So Damo, just do your thing, bud. And
heal up, man. For real.
That's gonna be a big blow to my fantasy team with Damo out. I guess, well, why else do we have IR slots, I guess?
Right, yeah.
All
right, so where do we go next?
Let's go with because we're building, right? This is how we do. We build.
We build. We're like Bob the Builder. We build.
We can't fix it as well as Bob can, but
we can't fix it. No.
So Pazzy and Patty.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, I want to read just for the overall scope of where we're at.
Yeah.
Ray Ferraro.
Yeah. Yeah, he had some comments. Elliot Friedman's had some comments.
Going on Ray and Dregs. And I take this from Mark in Union Blue because Union Blue said, I mean, Ray's right. Like, there's no debate on what Ferraro said. And he said, they're a team with no identity. They're just a franchise. That place should be better than it is. And
yes, he's right.
It is. It can't be.
I hope people understand that that's actually, in a way, a compliment from Ray Ferraro.
Yeah.
That we should expect better and that there's, stuff here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, knowing that he believes that there's a good market here.
Yeah, there's a good market here. There's good fans here. There's good pieces here. We deserve better. Not only do we deserve better, it should be better.
What has Pascal Vincent said game in, game out, every post game?
You fight for your job. The better you play, the more you'll play.
I'm looking for 2 words. Or technically 3 words.
3 words. I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
We are so close.
Jesus Christ.
The reason I bring those words up, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Is you look at the skid, and aside from maybe a game here and a game there, like the Flyers game, you watch them play, and you notice when the mistakes are big, they're big. Like what happened with the Ovi goal.
It's like
oh my God,
whole team has a little bit of Damon Severson syndrome right now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you have your mistakes like that, but you watch the overall scope of these games, and they're in every game. They're in almost every game.
You know what I thought about? Funny enough, your best thoughts come in the shower. Shower thoughts, the best thoughts, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what bothers me the most right now about the Blue Jackets? And it bothers me because I experienced this with other teams.
What's that? Yep.
Specifically the Chicago Bears.
No, yep.
They have become a screenshot team. And do you know what I mean about that?
You just see them in every weird.
It means every game there's at least 1 or 2 screenshots that will get posted to Twitter.
Yes.
Where you're wondering, what the fuck is happening?
What happened here?
The only goal is maybe one of the most egregious. The one against the Flyers, the 2-on-0, that's egregious.
That was really egregious, yes.
The Bears had this for the longest time, specifically with Mitch Trubisky, where like there's and now they have it a little bit with Justin Fields. There's like 1 to 2 screenshots a game where you're just like, hey, this receiver is wide open. Why isn't he getting the ball? And that's how I feel about the Blue Jackets. It's like, hey, that guy who has like a lot of goals and is probably going to score the most goals of any player in NHL history is like alone right in front of the net. Maybe someone should watch it.
Like, no, it wasn't even alone in front of the net. It was directly in the middle of the slot.
Yes.
Like bar between the circles. Like it was like as close to the middle as you could
like
be. It was
what
like a
the
direct.
NHL it looks like what the NHL would do if they made shootouts into penalties, kind of like soccer, where it's like you have you have it set up, you
Mhm.
versus the goalie, you're taking the shot from X distance. You're not like moving in, making moves or anything like that. You're just picking your spot. Like that's literally what that looked like. There was
That
nobody
was
around. He just
that was accuracy shooting target practice.
yeah.
That's that's what that was.
Yeah.
That
Like
was
it's
an
part of
all-star
where
event.
like it's part of where like I get frustrated. Like, and again, like I'm not trying to be the guy who comes on here every podcast and is the quote unquote goalie apologist, but I just don't understand how anybody could critique either Elvis or Spencer Martin or Daniil Tarasov whenever he comes
It's
back.
fair to come from you though, because like obviously you haven't played in ages, but you played, and that's the position you played.
I would argue the chance that Ovi had, those chances with nobody like uncontested in the slot
Mhm.
are so much more difficult to stop than a breakaway or a penalty shot.
Yeah. Because
It's one of the hardest saves to make.
even on a breakaway and a penalty shot, like a guy is like coming.
Yeah.
So like you have that ability to prepare
It's
even when they're
just
flying
about
at you.
staying with the shooter. You at least have a little bit of time to prepare. Like, oh, he's coming in. I can skate out a little bit and cut down as much as I want to determine what I feel is appropriate distance from me to the net. So if they want to come out wide or take it head on, like if they take it head on, I'm cutting down the angle. But if they're trying to move me out of position, I can at least determine how much distance I have to
Exactly.
cover based on my abilities. There's literally nothing you can do but almost just hope the puck hits you
He was
when
just
it's
standing
that
there.
wide open in the middle of the slot and just nobody's on the guy.
He was just standing there.
Menacingly.
Where would we be
as
without
Obi often does.
where would we be without SpongeBob references
Yeah,
on this show?
for real. It helps. Sorry.
So all right. Um Pazzi and specifically this like I don't know, would you call it one of his accountability checks again, or do you want to call this one more of like a weird beef? Cause
Look, I'm not qualified to say if there's a beef going on with him or Patrik Laine or anything like that. It's a really weird player to get into a beef with if you're Pascal Vincent,
yeah.
especially into a job that's
And I
as
mean you
complicated as this one is. This is what I think. I listened to 32 Thoughts and I 1000% agree with what Elliot Friedman said. It felt strange to do it after a game in which he was playing center. I would
yes.
have moved him back to wing, and if he had another shit game, then you do it. But to do it after a bad game where you're once again plugging him, and I know that Patrik Laine has said, I want to play center, I want to try it out. I think that experiment is over. I think they were kind of hoping that it would yield Tage Thompson results, and I
Mhm.
kind of thought that it might simply because of his frame and skill set. But the fact of the matter is the reason that Tage Thompson works so well at center is because that was a natural position for him. He was drafted in the NHL by St. Louis as a center. He played college hockey as a center. When he went to uh, Buffalo, they wanted him on the wing.
Mhm.
It worked because they moved him back to a position he was familiar with. Patrik Laine's been a winger since his junior days. He's always been a winger.
We've there's probably no record of him playing center until
It's like it would be like us saying like, oh, look at what Jack Hughes is doing in New Jersey. Let's have Johnny Gaudreau play center.
right.
We'll have this guy who's a little bit smaller frame, but stays healthy, is really talented. We'll have him play center. Like, sure, could it work? Maybe, but it's just because you have hopes about it doesn't mean it's going to work. I think the Line A center experiment was a good idea in premise because it allowed you the opportunity to see if this works. Because if it does, we don't need to make a move for a center,
Mhm.
especially if you got Adam Fantilli.
But now we're seeing more and more reports coming out that, the team is going to be going center shopping. Probably.
They need to. They need to. And the Lindholm rumors are never going to go away.
No. No.
At what point do we say we're not against that?
I never said I wasn't against it.
I'm not referring necessarily to you and me, just in general, the fan base.
Right. And I mean, like, you look on the Twitter sphere, and there are plenty of people that were vehemently against it. There are plenty of people that are open to it, but at the same time, like, what do you pay for that?
Yeah, obviously the extension's a concern, and also you don't want to give up any of your young players. So that's a non-negotiable. You're not giving up your check, Kent Johnson or Adam Fantilli in a trade, so they can fuck all the way off if that's what they want. But there's other pieces that can be moved.
As much as Calgary fans, are going to go rabid online about this, like, no, Johnny's not going back.
Yeah, no. He's got a full no move clause. He likes it in Columbus. That's not a concern of mine. I wonder if this continues. Does it feel like that Patrik Laine is like the number one option to go out?
I don't know, man, because like going from, and I watched a Hockey Guy's video on Patrik that he posted. Because he did like a career up to this point look at it.
Yeah.
And he talks about how, Patrik went through his issues wanting out of Winnipeg, and now we get this where he's like, he signs his extension just last year, and we talk about how much a 4-year deal is different, but at the same time, it's like, that's still a decent commitment.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I would compare this situation to what happened in Winnipeg. It sounded like the leadership group in Winnipeg was not great with him.
Mm-hmm.
There was a souring relationship there. I think because of the way the Jets were built, I don't want to say necessarily he was excess goods, but he was the type of style of player that they had a carbon copy of all throughout the lineup. They had Blake Wheeler, really good offensively, doesn't play defense. Mark Scheifele, really good offensively, doesn't play defense. Kyle Connor, really good offensively, doesn't play defense. Nikolai Ehlers, you get where I'm coming from, right?
Yes.
Like they have that player.
They have that everywhere.
Any of those players. So it was a weird fit with the Jets.
Yeah.
I think in premise he should fit here.
And what's nice,
he doesn't.
You get into the argument of player archetypes, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Where we know, as much as Patrik has been growing his like all-around game,
and it continues to grow. Even in this season, his defense continues to, as bad as he was in the Washington game, his underlying numbers continue to get better.
Defense playmaking, he's improving.
The problem is, though, is it's just not showing up on the stat sheet, and that's what's important. We need goals from this guy.
He is a sniper.
What did we say 2 years ago about Patrik Laine, like over and over and over again? And I want to bring it back again.
Oh goodness, that was 2 years now.
He's Lambo.
He is a Lambo. Yep, he's the Lambo.
He's a Lambo. Don't make him into pickup truck. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm glad he's becoming more. He's trying to become more of a playmaker. I'm glad that he's trying to step up his game a little bit defensively. That's great. But at some point,
it's good when you develop tools, but like at the same time, if you're good at one thing,
like if you're so gifted at one thing, just do that thing. Like I want to be able to look at like a 4 or 5 game stretch from Patrik Laine where I'm like, Patrik Laine, 6 shots on goal, 7 shots on goal, 5 shots on goal. You know what I want to see this guy put up shots, like shots. You know what I mean? Like
Everybody.
that's
No, instead of
even if
everybody,
he's not scoring, he's giving you scoring chances simply by putting the puck on the net. Like
Johnny's doing that.
Johnny needs to do more of that because I think his playmaking's actually been pretty good this season.
Yes,
Guys aren't finishing. He needs to start creating for himself.
Third in created chances, right? Somewhere
he was top 6. I don't know if
6.
I don't know if he's up at third right now, but he is.
I read somewhere that some stat they were like third. No, you know what it was? It was third in expected goals. From the team as a whole, right?
So I'm not. Since the start of November, which is just so funny.
It is crazy.
It is like objectively,
but they're just not going in.
Yeah, they're not going in, and unfortunately, they're not getting the defense and goaltending they need to
compensate for that lack. Yeah.
So do you blame the defense and goaltending? I don't know if I necessarily blame them. It's a situation I don't blame them, but I acknowledge they're not giving you a break.
We're definitely getting away from Pazzy and Patty and just kind of overarching things. So the other thing, like in regards to these two guys in particular, right? Pascal Vincent, I believe, is a good coach. He is miles better from the Brad Larson stench that still obviously lingers within this team.
I'm not willing to say he's a good coach, but I'm also not willing to say that he's worse than Brad Larson. I'd be lying to you if I said that. Brad Larson did things that I just thought he should be arrested for. I think like this is a tough. Like we acknowledge this a million times. This is a tough job for Pascal Vincent. I like the concept of accountability.
Yes, and we need more of that.
It falls flat when you don't get results.
Yes. So here's the main point that I'm trying to make, right?
Yes.
The main point that I'm trying to make centers around centers.
Yeah.
2 quotes from both of these guys, right? Like 2 phrases, one from each of these guys.
Yeah. Wow. One of them very funny.
Patrick. Yes. Patrick saying he's embarrassed.
He was embarrassed, yeah.
And I mean, he should be. He should be embarrassed because out there, you play better.
He is embarrassed. I think he was saying he was embarrassed. It's 2 different things.
Was like in the moment.
What I mean is, I don't think he was saying I'm embarrassed by my play. Mm-hmm. I think he was saying what he did to me was an embarrassment.
Oh,
that is how I read that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how
it's a shot across the bow.
Interpreted that. I think Laine was very pissed off about that.
Oh yeah,
he liked how that was handled. I think he's probably kind of under the impression that I was under and that Ellie Friedman was under. Like, God, at least give me a shot back on the wing before you bench me or before you scratch me.
Right.
Benchings and scratchings are totally different. It's one thing to bench a guy in the moment. It's another thing to say we're taking you out of lineup. And this is the point that I want to get to is.
And we know his emotional, like we see that. We saw him breaking a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah. And here's the other side of the coin, though. Is Pazzy saying, be more of a man. Be more of a man?
Did you like the TikTok?
I did like that tweet. I retweeted
it. That guy's got like, take a shit with the door open. Be a man. His videos are so funny. That was the only thing I could think of when I heard that quote. But yeah, objectively, that's not a good quote from your coach. It's not
be a man, Pascal.
That's not good.
What's he supposed to do? What else is he supposed to do? when he hasn't even played a game yet after you scratched him.
Oh, man. I think what he's trying to say and what came off very, very wrong was take it on the chin and use this moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the way he said it sucked. That
Yes.
is the first moment I've been
God,
like,
it sucked.
that's not good. That's not good at all. You know, and I don't know. I think it's just, you know, it lands differently because this is his first job, doesn't it?
His first head coaching job, yeah.
In the NHL. You know,
I mean,
if Ports did this, it's a lot different. It's got
would be way less, yes.
But because it's Pascal and he's unproven, and right now the team's in the midst of, at the time, an 8-game skid. You scratch this guy and then you lose again. That's my problem. I love the idea of accountability, and I think it's necessary. And I'm not going to criticize him for wanting to hold guys accountable, but at some point, Jake, when you sit a guy, that guy needs to be able to sit in the press box and watch that team win without them.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Patrik Laine, you're almost more pissed off because you go in and you lose that game, and he's probably thinking to himself, well, I could have helped, you know? It's tough. It's tough to try and hold guys accountable, and the end result is more losses.
It's just it's weird because we have now another thing more or less tied to this is the corresponding move of Robinson is back.
Yes, and I saw some people complaining about it.
I had no problem goes down. And the one thing that I'll say about Robbie for Fixie is this is just another instance of Trey not getting a sustained shot.
Yes, I don't have a major issue with it because I think it's good for him to be in Cleveland for a little bit more this season and to play a little bit more. I like this move.
He leads the Monsters in points.
Yeah, he's playing well. Can let him cook. And that's the point I want to get to. I know a lot of people are like, why aren't we bringing up Kent Johnson? Because
let him cook.
Let him cook in the A right now. Like, there's two reasons I like this. One, the more he plays in the A and the more he produces, the more confidence he'll have, the more his game will develop. Two, I'm not entirely sure I want him in Columbus right now with the way the atmosphere is.
No, because I definitely can see that being a blow to his own, mentality within on and off. Right?
Can I tell you a fear I have?
What's that?
I fear we might get Bednard again.
Oh, no.
Because I'm looking at the Monsters and I'm looking at how good they look.
And how good Trent is behind that bench.
And if Pascal's not the guy and Trent gets another job, because I'm almost certain he's going to get another job this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's good, that's going to suck.
It's so scary.
It's going to suck.
It's scary to think about.
It is a scary thought because, like there's not a ton they could do about Bednar just because of the timing of it. We talked about this before. They needed to make a change with Todd Richards, so they brought in Torts. They weren't going to, just have Torts for like 80% of a season and then let him go. Like, so timing just sucked with that one. But
yeah,
when you have a little bit more control with, and it would suck if he ends up leaving and going elsewhere.
Especially because he already had done such good for like the minor league system as a player.
Yeah, and
the franchise.
Yeah, it's a great point. He was unbelievable for us as a player, and now he's there as a coach. And they would have made the playoffs had we not taken all their goddamn players last season with all the injuries.
Right.
Because they were unbelievable to start the season last year, and here they are again, unbelievable to start the season. Hopefully we don't have to take all their players again. But I look at how the players produce, and we talked about this last episode. I know it's a gap between the NHL and AHL, but the way they play for Trent Vogelhuber and just the points they're putting up, and it seems like everybody when they go to the Monsters plays well. Emil Bemstrom is one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no problem with Trey Fix-Wolansky going down there. I have no problem with Ken Johnson staying down there. I have no problem with Bemmer being down there. I think Eric Robinson is a good move because I think that he's a guy that we can use in the bottom six right now.
Yes.
I would like to take Olivier out of the lineup and put because I haven't seen the line, so I don't know if they did this or not.
Let me actually do that right now.
I'd like to see them do Robinson, Corrali, and Danforth.
Here, I gotta open Discord instead because I have it on there somewhere. Here we go. All right. So line one against Chicago is Gaudreau, Jenner, Marchenko.
Like that. I like that a lot.
That works.
I do kind of hate breaking up the Fantilli, Dima, and Marchenko line, but I get it.
Now, Dima and Adam stick together. You put Patty with them. So you get the air fryer bros together.
Interesting. Yeah, you know, that's a good point. Yeah.
Line three is projected to be Chinny and Silly, and those two built some chemistry last year over the last couple of years. Like
China, we have not talked enough about Yegor Chinikov, and he has brought an interesting dynamic. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have minded them keeping the Fantilli, Dima, and Marchenko line together and maybe giving Yegor a shot on the top line with Jenner and Gaudreau.
Ooh, that'd be interesting to see at some point. But yeah, you get Chinny and Silly, and then on the right of that, that's where Robbie is.
Interesting.
So Robbie's on the third line with them, and then the fourth line is unchanged. Tex, Corrali, Danny.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind putting Corrali and Danforth with Robinson and moving Texier up the lineup.
I mean, like we've seen.
I wouldn't mind giving Texier a look with Laine.
Tex produces.
Yeah.
Like we know that much.
I'm happy that he's back. It's been very positive for us. Like it's interesting. Like Tex and Yegor give the lineup a little bit of flexibility that's interesting because you play them really on just about any line. They bring skill about any line.
They're fast. They have hands. They have shots.
Yeah. Neither one of them are stout defensively, but you know they play with good pace. So depending on who you put them with, you can offset that.
Mm-hmm. You can have guys make up for that. I just want to see. I don't want to see Patty Pauk from this. I want to see him go out there and be Patrick again. Yeah,
I might have to look tonight to see what the DraftKings line is for Patrik Laine shots on goal because I might take the over. What else might be a nice bet? This is both his first game of the season, right?
No.
He has
played?
Don't
think so. Yes. I want to see he has.
Let me check to make sure, but it is interesting that his return to the lineup is against the Blackhawks.
That is kind of fun. Guys traded for each other. Good to play against each other. That is kind of neat. So
he has played 5 games. He has no points, and he's a -5. Cool.
Oof.
Good Lord.
Well then, see how it goes. Again, I'm not like. It's just very wishy-washy with the players and the coach right now. Part of that has to be the fact that the defensive system stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive system is awful, needs adjustments big time. And part of that is just how rough the power play has been. Like, we were warned by Devil's friends about bringing Recchi in to run the power play.
I knew.
It's like, oh boy.
What did I tell you before the season? I told you that was a concern of mine.
I didn't think
because I have so many Devils friends and watch so many Devils games. I saw it firsthand. Their power play sucked under Mark Recchi, and it instantly got better when they brought in Andrew Brunette, and now it's unbelievable with Travis Green.
right. Who would have thought?
Always there.
I don't. I just don't like. Obviously, seeing it unfurl firsthand is way scarier because of just how bad this Ofer is on the power play. And they've looked like, you watch how it's set up, and you like, I saw really good power plays against Pittsburgh where they were generating chances, but nothing was happening.
More often than not, when I watch the power play, I want to go to sleep.
Fair. That's fair.
2-minute nap. Just when I wake up, that we didn't give up a shorthanded goal.
It's a power nap, right?
Here's a fun stat for you. And when I say fun, I mean just incredibly depressing.
Yes, because that's your ideal
That
definition
is my
of fun.
specialty, isn't it?
That's your ideal definition of fun, isn't it?
Yeah. The Blue Jackets have been around 24 years now, right? 23, because it's 20.
Yeah, because 2001 was the first year.
How many seasons have the Blue Jackets had a power play that converted at over a 20% clip?
Oh boy. At a 20% click, I'm gonna say like 5. Was that the 2019 year?
I want to say it was actually the 14-15 season. We didn't make the playoffs that year, but it was because we had a whole bunch of injuries. But the power play was unbelievable. We had Scott Hartnell parked in front of the net.
Oh, Hartsey. God, I miss that guy.
And yeah, it was right before we got Brandon Saad too.
Yeah, because Sauter was 15-16.
Yeah, so Calvert had a really good year. Despite missing the playoffs, a lot of players had really good year, and the power play was really, really good.
Yeah.
That's that only one time in the Columbus Blue Jackets history have they had a power play that converted over a 20% clip. I found that fascinating.
Wow. So I think we've griped about coaching enough, and we're just like, we just need to see more from players.
Come out on Pazzi. It's early, but
yeah,
I have concerns about him early because
it's definitely concerning.
you're lying to yourself if you're not concerned about it, right? Like,
no, like I'm definitely like, there's cracks in the foundation where I'm like, okay, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so I want to address the management side of things to tie the bow on the Columbus talk by starting off with this tweet from Brian Hedger.
Yeah.
CBJ president Mike Priest watched practice from the stands at Nationwide. That's newsworthy with the team in a 9-game winless skid. I've asked to speak to either Priest or John McConnell, told the latter isn't available, out of town. We'll see on, I guess, we'll see. I mean, he says we'll see on McConnell, but like, I guess he meant we'll see on Priest.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. That's having the higher ups watching
having
everything
Mike
go down
out there means that Jarmo and JD should be praying.
The seat's getting warm. The seat warmer is on, and we just need like 5 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, you're frozen. Oh, there we go.
I'm good. I'm back. Could you hear me that whole time?
Yes, yeah.
Good.
Did you like
okay.
my pun? Did you like my pun?
Say that one more time.
That Mike Priest is there. They need to pray.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that. That took me a second.
I can't remember who I saw it from. So, but it was one of the bigger ones, whether that's Ferraro or Elliott or Merrick or someone said that they don't think that John Davidson's job is in any danger.
I can't see it.
I find that endlessly fascinating.
I can't see it from JD. Like, I could definitely see it with Yarmo at this point. And you told me that you're like starting to lead hard on Fire Yarmo.
I was in that boat.
Okay, so you cooled down a little bit?
No, I've jumped entirely in that boat. I was starting to lean on we should fire Yarmo. I am now just full on we should fire Yarmo.
Oh boy.
I should like I'm just being real. Like my thing is if their plan is John Davidson's job is secure,
Yeah.
which I'm entirely sure I agree with that either. At least you have someone you can rely on to run the ship for the rest of the season. The thing is, Jake, is you can't do nothing.
No.
And
you have to do something.
This dates, in my opinion, simply back to the Babcock hire.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. That's a huge point in that.
Right now, whether it's major or even just a little minor, I don't know where it is because obviously we're not there. But you can't tell me that everybody has 100% faith in that locker room in Jarmo Kekalainen and 100% trust in him. Fair?
Yeah, no, I just like it's hard to speculate on actual the gears turning within people's heads.
I typically try not to speculate, but I think it's fair to say, like, with how that went down and with how the team is playing right now, I'm not saying that those two are 100% linked together. I just think it's fair to say that there has to be at least a little bit, even just the tiniest bit of distrust.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't make the situation better. And the funny thing to me, Jake, is because you whiffed so bad with the Mike Babcock thing.
Don't believe me, I'm listening. I'm just scrolling for our next thing.
You can't fire Pascal Vincent.
No, and it's not.
I'm not saying you should. What I am saying, though, is let's say, for example, the Mike Babcock thing wasn't as big of a story. It's a story, but it wasn't super big. The Blue Jackets head into training camp. He's their head coach. This is the start to their season. You could fire Mike Babcock today. That's the change you make. Pascal Vincent takes over. That's a card you have up your sleeve. When you fucked up with the Mike Babcock hire and he didn't make it to training camp, you had no cards left.
Yeah, when you kept him on for as long as you did, through the offseason, it was like that's where it is.
This is the reality. I know you and I had a podcast where we said, hey, like if this doesn't work out, you've got Pascal Vincent, who you guys clearly like, yada, yada, yada. I'm not taking back that take. I thought at the time it would have made sense because Pascal Vincent was a coaching option. They clearly liked him. I was happy that they kept him in the building because they liked him. And I get that they felt that they needed to take a shot and whatnot. But the reality is I said at the time, their jobs are tied to Mike Babcock. And when he didn't make it to training camp, I didn't feel that they should have either. And we are now at Thanksgiving, which is like the determining point of the season for the NHL. Like, what is it? The stats, like 90% of teams that are in playoff positions by Thanksgiving end up making the playoffs.
Something like that. And yet, like, because, hockey's weird.
Very weird.
Hockey's so strange to the point, like, I mean, like, there's a whole reason why we come back to 18-19 and we go to the sweep and we go to the Blues and we go to all that
there's
stuff.
like one of my favorite ones when we talk about how strange hockey was there was a season in which the Senators were kind of ass, and then ended up making the playoffs with with a guy who had become a journeyman NHL goalie who had such an insane run that they threw hamburgers on the ice.
I love Andrew Hammond, BG product, Andrew Hammond.
Yep, BG product. So that's how weird the sport is, because that guy went on to be a third goalie for most of the teams that he played on, but
usually an AHL guy,
like 30 games where he was like a brick wall, and
where he was absolutely Dominic Hasek. It was crazy.
It was nuts. That's how dumb this sport is. But my point here is, I didn't expect the Blue Jackets to be a playoff team. You didn't either. Most of the
No, but we didn't expect it to be this horrible.
My issue isn't that the Blue Jackets aren't going to be a playoff team this year. It's that it's not even a question. It's Thanksgiving, and it's not even a question that they're not going to make the playoffs.
I just don't like, because
I'm not saying you needed to be in the hunt, but I didn't want the season to be over by Thanksgiving.
We didn't expect playoffs, but you know what we also didn't expect? Another lottery.
We didn't expect 4 wins.
We didn't expect another lottery.
Yeah.
This early. Like,
this draft isn't that good, guys. God damn, you can win some games.
Yeah, please. Please, for our own sake too. Like, how often do you how early do you decorate for the holidays?
Funny enough, as you ask, we literally did that today, actually. Yeah. So we usually like to do it like right before Thanksgiving, like maybe like a week or so before.
Okay. It's funny because like our tradition is we like to get our tree the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's our Black Friday tradition.
Yeah.
Is to get the tree early.
Mm-hmm.
So for some people, it's probably still too early to start decorating.
It's never too early to start shopping, though.
Never too early to start shopping. Beat the crowds, like especially on Black Friday when the clouds, oh my gosh, for words are hard, especially around the holidays. Maybe someone could give me a little bit of.
I'll get you a dictionary
Some
for
speech
your
therapy.
Yeah.
For Christmas. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping nightmarish? Just the worst to deal with, especially when you can get it done before Black Friday, like with Raycon's pre-Black Friday, early Black Friday sale going on right now. You've heard us talk about Raycon in the past around the holidays before, or, ringing in the new year, or just chilling over the summer. And you know how all of this is. Just go to the website for more information. Raycon first made a name for themselves in the audio space with the E25s and the amazing, cheap, but brilliant earbuds that they always are known for. 32-hour battery life with those puppies, high quality, thoughtful features, perfect ear fit, the custom gel tips, all everything that you all know and love. And this past year, they expanded. They expanded the entire business model with Raycon Home and Raycon PowerTech. So they got some more stuff going on than just your regular everyday earbuds. The Magic 180 cable allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, and Type-C devices 8 times faster. And the faucet filter, ultra filter in your water clears out heavy metal, chlorine, all that really nasty stuff in your tap. Must have for ensuring your water to use to wash your face, brush your teeth. You're actually getting clean water, right?
Yeah.
High quality, thoughtful features at half the price of other premium brands. No wonder everything has racked up thousands and thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. You hear about these guys everywhere. Raycon just works. To get everyone in on the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon's currently offering 20% off everything on their site with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds, save now. Trust me, you don't want to miss out because Raycon's got you covered. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN.
I feel a lot of this kind of heads back to the Babcock issue simply because there was a stench with the Babcock hire and how everything went down. And I think they kind of felt that an apology and promoting Pascal Vincent and let's just move on, guys, would hopefully result in that kind of just going away. But unfortunately, the stench from all of that has just permeated and it's just not going anywhere.
You know, and it's funny to make this more like a stench related analogy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you're like, when you fart in a room and then you walk away
And it follows you.
and it follows you,
Yeah.
but it also like lingers behind in the room for a little while in the other room.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is Brad Larson. That's
Yeah.
Brad Larson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't disagree with that.
Now, Mike Babcock. Do you remember the Ed and Eddie episode where they had the gigantic
I never
stink
watched
bomb?
that show.
Oh, dude, you got to look it up. It's
Yeah.
so funny because they built this stink bomb
Mm-hmm.
that's like the size of about a third of their actual cul-de-sac.
Okay.
It's like this gigantic freaking balloon of a stink bomb.
Yeah.
That thing popping is Mike Babcock.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
just diarrhea running down the leg.
It's just it's just this
I feel
huge
for
like that's
talking about shit and farts.
that's Taco Bell, that's Del Taco, that's Chipotle, that's all three of those combined into one big.
That
add
is
some,
like, it throws some like a whole bunch of fried food in there as well.
add some like
Add some coffee.
add some hot sauce in there, some like not even buffalo, just like full on like
Add some
hot
sauce and some ranch.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Add some burrito black beans in there. Like think of whatever the heck you want.
Black and pinto beans and
Oh boy.
yeah.
All we're saying is like it stinks. It's like it's bad.
That's part of why I'm struggling to really come down super hard on Pascal Vincent.
Yeah, and we shouldn't.
There's a tougher job in the NHL than this one right now, just in terms of dealing with the locker room after everything that's happened. And it's part of why I think firing Jarmo would go a long way.
It's hard to, like, it's hard for me to sway that way with you right now.
I don't expect people to be all in or 100% agree with me, but at the very least, I'm asking people to kind of understand what I'm saying. If it makes sense.
And I'm sure people are going to understand where you're at, because the way you're presenting it isn't unabashed.
I try not to be a dick when I make my points. You know what I mean?
Like,
because I always allow for the opportunity to be wrong because I am wrong frequently.
Yes, you are.
Like, I guess my reasoning, and this has been my philosophy really throughout any sport at any given moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have doubts, just end it. In sports, if you're not sure someone's your coach, if you're not 100% committed, don't be committed to them.
Right.
Like I that's something
or
that
you could
if you're telling me, well, they should just fire Jarmo in the offseason. If firing Jarmo is even a shred of doubt question in your mind, he should not be your GM.
Or you could be the Brian Price Reds and just stay with that for Lord knows how long they did, because that obviously worked. Not to bring another sport into it, but like,
I think other sports are great examples.
Oh
Because
my God, those Brian Price Reds, dude. Oh my God. Oh, you want to talk about a time where I was going to think about giving up on a team that I cheer for? That had to have been.
You would have had a reason. Yeah.
Brian Price is not a manager in the MLB for a reason. Like,
yeah. No doubt. Yeah. I just, like if you know, you know.
Walt Jocketty is not a general manager right now for a reason.
What a name too.
I do like that name.
He should be riding horses.
Yeah, he should.
Jocketty, the jockey. But you get the point that I'm trying to make here. If you're not 100% committed to someone, don't let them run your franchise. You know what I mean? You have to have 100% confidence in someone if you're going to let them take the reins.
Change, turnaround. We need something. Give us as fans something, guys.
Because here's something that we don't want to think about, but what if they lose tonight?
Right.
What if they lose the next game? What if it gets to 11 or 12 or 13? Like you gotta do something, surely, right? Like, because it's not going to be firing the coach. I can tell you that. You're not going to fire the coach.
It's different because, like, let's compare let's just the last thing on this, because we've been ranting about this. Compare it to the Sharks this year. We knew they were going to be bad.
Yeah.
We knew they were kind of going to be this bad.
Yeah.
Right?
The only reason that David Quinn still has his job is because it's the same reason that Matt Eberflus still has his job at the Bears, because they're so good at losing that's actually the value they provide. But the Blue Jackets are in a much different place from the Sharks or the Bears, where, yeah, they're young. They don't have playoff expectations, but they're not tanking.
They shouldn't be. Tanking. They should be competitive every night. And like I said, they're in most games, even throughout the skid.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can see it, but we need results.
It's a results-driven league, and right now, the results just aren't there.
The stonks are down, man.
I care a ton about the process. I've said I care just about the process as much as the results.
Mm-hmm.
But when there are no results, the process doesn't mean shit to me.
Exactly.
It's got to be 50-50.
You need to change, at the very least, change the defensive system a little bit to the point where, like, you're actually covering guys.
Like that, like I
it could be as simple as that. Like,
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just like, I'm sitting here just like, change the defensive system. Do you know how hard that is to do in the middle of the season? Like, oh my God. Like, that's why I'm just kind of sitting here just like, I don't have the answer. Is it simple as trying to just change things up, tweak things defensively, or make a move and trade for a center, or like, you're not going to fire your coach? Here's an idea.
Well, Bill, let me tell you about this here. You see?
Well, let me tell you, you know what you could do? You could fire your GM.
You could fire him into the sun.
You're fired.
Right out of the cannon and just right out of the unemployment line.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part, is like, I like what Jarmo's done, like, in terms of like individual moves, except for the Babcock thing, because that's a huge red move.
Yeah.
Jarmo has made good moves as a general manager.
I don't think he's a bad GM. He's the best GM in Blue Jackets history. He's done a lot of good for us. But I think it's time for a shift. And I think that more than anything is what we need. We need a shift. Yeah. We need, that's a great, changing your GM. That's a great way to potentially establish an identity.
Could be, yeah, because Lord knows Pazzy's got coattails to clean up.
Yeah. So
if he wants to make that, if he wants it in his image, he's got a lot of stains to clean up in that room.
yep.
So we're gonna stick with the theme of stains, I guess, as we go into league stuff.
Shit stain.
Shit stain.
Like the shit stain that Milan Lucic is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Say,
Boy,
we
Boston knows how to pick them, don't they?
God, they do. We need to put the player aside for this one because we know who Lucic is
I don't care about the
as a player, and we don't care about that right now.
Fuck this guy.
He is scum of a human being, which that's partially jumping to conclusions, but at the same time, it's very not. We woke up it's Wednesday when we're recording this. We woke up on Monday when this news broke.
Yeah.
That he got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And let's put a content warning out there because this is a scary thing. This is general. How do I say this? Just say assault, domestic situation. We'll say it like that, right?
Yeah.
He gets arrested in Boston, and now he's being charged in Boston, arraigned in Boston. The arraignment still has yet to happen.
Yeah, so it was suspicion of assault and battery, which carries a
family member
penalty of 2.5 years in prison. He did not speak at his arraignment. A plea of not guilty was entered on his behalf.
So that's
pre-trial hearing has been set for January 19th. As condition of his bail, he's prohibited from abusing the alleged victim and from consuming alcohol.
So that's the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah.
Going through details from Sarah Valley really quick.
Yes.
Bruins Milan Lucic to be arraigned in Boston on one count of assault and battery against a family member after allegedly attacking his wife and pulling her hair. Police reportedly observed a broken lamp and shards of glass. There were other reports saying he was drunk.
Yep.
There's obviously still nothing completely concrete on this yet.
I think, I don't know if it's like a mandatory move. I feel like it probably is, but he was entered into the substance abuse program for the NHL.
Pleads not guilty in Boston court, and this was Tuesday, so this was yesterday as of recording this. Released on his own recognizance. I don't know what that is legally speaking. So does that mean just he paid bail and like?
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Something like that. Fair enough. And yes, entering the league and PA player assistance program while on indefinite leave from the Bruins while he's going through this.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that player assistance is more than just things of the nature of like what Bobby Ryan went through.
Yeah.
With his alcoholism, or what, like, it can be as broad a range as Spencer Knight going in for treatment of OCD.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have player assistance at the very least, like in the background, trying to help him with whatever it could be.
Feels like a very like mandatory kind of move, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like issue, like if I feel like if you have like any sort of legal issue with some sort of substance, like that's probably just a natural thing. Mm-hmm. Like if a player, like I'd imagine if a player was like arrested for possession of like cocaine or something like that, they'd be entered into this, right? I can't imagine a circumstance they wouldn't. I feel like it's just standard practice.
Did that happen with Mike Richards back in the day?
Was it possession? I don't.
something involving Coke, like
It's sort of foggy in my mind. I'd have to
because
look it up.
remember this was what, like 2012?
I want to say it was a little bit later than 2012, but
If you've got that in the works on your
yeah. Anyway, so 2015,
15, okay.
drug possession charge in Canada,
Mm.
and yeah, I believe that he went into that program. So
If he went into player assistance, so yeah, I guess that would be a mandatory thing for all things like this.
mhm.
I just don't see how he comes back from this at all. He shouldn't, frankly.
Yeah,
Pleading
but
not
it's assuming that he's charged and whatnot. If he's charged, it won't even be a question. He'll be serving jail time. So
yeah.
we'll see what more details come out, but
Definitely following this.
definitely a terrible look for him and the Boston Bruins.
Well, this
Not
goes
to say that they should have known or anything like that. They wouldn't.
no, and there's
It's
no
just,
way that
following last year and the whole Mitchell Miller thing.
I was gonna bring up the Mitchell Miller thing. Like this is really just another like
Yeah, it's just
it's a rough stain on a franchise that is in their centennial year and is supposed to be, going through celebratory stuff this year.
Yeah, should we just call this episode Stains?
Maybe. I was gonna call it something like Be a Man, but
Be a Man would have been great. Nah, let's do Stains.
Stains.
Man, it is. We'll do Stains. But this is a big year for the Bruins, and not to mention it's a year in which they weren't supposed to be as good as what they are, which is kind of funny because
they're about as good as they were last year already. Like nothing changed except for player personnel for whatever reason, other than retirements and like the like, but literally nothing changed result wise so far.
So,
and I mean,
I hope his wife's okay.
Doesn't feel like the team's going to miss him much because knowing where Lucic is now in his career, they have guys that can fill that.
Yeah.
So they'll be fine. And we'll follow the story. One that's a little bit more lighthearted, but at the same time, kind of like, oh boy. Can we call this one a makeup call? Tim Peel versus Mark Spector.
Such a funny interaction because it was like, like the meme where it's like heartbreaking, the worst person
makes a great point. Yep.
I saw one of my friends, Kate, sent a picture in one of our group chats. It was the same picture but altered, where the guy's smiling, and it said, "The two worst people."
Oh, that mugshot of yeah.
No. It was just the guy smiling. Like instead of like the picture where he looks like sad, it's a picture where they adjust the mouth so he's smiling. And
I know the one you're talking about. It looks like a mugshot to me, just from lighting
really?
and yeah.
Yeah. Just the two worst people are fighting.
So, for context on just Tim Peel for a second, the hot mic thing from that Predators Red Wings game from how many years now? Like 2, 3?
Yeah.
Something like that.
A while, yeah.
He gets caught on a hot mic basically saying what we all basically knew in terms of makeup calls and all that kind of stuff. That's just to give you context on who Tim Peel is.
Yeah.
So go look up that funny little incident.
Not the banana you want to slip on.
It's wow, you got me blanking on that was so bad. I was just like, you made me completely derail my train of thought. Ever since then though, he's just kind of been on Twitter.
Yeah, he's just been like a Twitter troll ever since. Hey, look, I thought Spector's question was dumb. I thought it was a bad question.
Yes, and just to give you like Edmonton media is very strange as a whole. Like,
would you rather win this game 4-1 or 7-5? We'd like to keep the puck out of our net. What a dipshit question. Okay,
yeah.
I agree with him. And you know what? He takes his voice to Twitter and talks about what a dumb question, yada yada, whatever. I don't have a problem with that. I don't get why Mark Spector reached out to Tim Peel. I don't know what he was expecting. I don't know what he was looking to gain from doing that. And I also don't get why Tim Peel felt the need to share those messages with everyone.
Can we find the screenshots somewhere? Here we go. I found them. I got them. All right. So, and this is funny, just me thinking out loud. People that confuse Spec with Jim Matheson and the whole Draisaitl thing.
Well, you know, fair.
Why are you so pissy there, Tim?
What? Yeah, why are you so pissy, Tim?
And
really,
it's funny because like Spec had to follow up the Draisaitl thing.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
This is really funny because after Ratty asked his shitty question, it was just like you can hear Mark Spector, Sportsnet, next question. And it's like, oh boy.
He was like, hey, Leon, would you rather win this game 4-1 or 7-5?
So reading this text exchange, starting with Mark. Thanks. And by the way, I don't know if Tim actually has bad eyesight or what, because like you look at the size of the font, it's like bold, like bold font.
I do the same thing. I do it because it makes your keyboard bigger.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that did that with your keyboard.
Yeah. When I found that out, I was like, I don't care how big and ridiculous this looks. It makes it so much easier to type.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I might have to do that myself. It just looks like a bold Helvetica, like ugh.
Yeah, but the narrative of him having bad eyesight, the jokes write themselves, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do. So Mark starts this by saying, "Thanks for piling on, Tim. I'll remember that the next time you fuck up."
Fuck up. He doesn't ref anymore. Like that was what I didn't understand. I was like, what do you mean fuck up? He doesn't ref.
I was gonna say if you're gonna call fuck ups, maybe do that with like what's his name?
Wes McCullough?
Chris Lee.
Or Chris Lee, yeah.
The one that did this.
Yeah.
The one that did the run the clock thing. So Tim responds to this and says, well, it's a stupid question. Of course they'd like to win 4-1.
Yeah, it is a very dumb question. I agree with you, Tim.
You refs never have the balls to answer a question for your shut-ass work and your critique.
That was the very funny aspect of it that people don't talk about enough. His like autocorrect change.
His typos and like, yeah. Like, did you see the "your" with the exclamation point?
Yeah.
Quit
very,
being
very funny. Yeah.
Tim, quit being so sensitive. Grow some balls, Mark.
I thought that was a weak response. He could have gone in on him, like he could have like corrected his spelling mistakes. Or
yeah, that would have been funny, right?
He says it.
Grow some balls, Mark. Never played the game. Which, okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Because that's the actual like big talking point that everybody is mentioning with this, right? Been around it long enough to know a horseshit ref when I see one, Tim. I've been very good to read for my whole career, 35 years. Thanks for noticing. You've always been a fucking fraud, buddy. Well then. I do love this tweet of from Dude Where's McCarr at Joel the Sakic, where it's Tim Peel versus Mark Spector, and they're both doink. They're both Doink the Clown in the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
So the never played the game part, right?
That always annoys me, yeah.
Isn't that such a shit argument?
It is.
Because I feel like that's that's your
I'm
shit.
smarter than you because I play hockey for like a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you never claimed to be like that. Like
Yeah. Plus,
the only
so many players who played who are just awful analysts. Like Mike Milbury, he played in the
Mike.
NHL. He knows so much more than people, right?
Oh yeah,
He must be a genius, man.
he was such a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what his thoughts are about the Sedin sisters and Cindy Crosby and
Yeah. I'll say this.
God.
He played and he was a GM and he was an analyst and
Yeah.
he was bad at all of them.
He was bad at everything.
But he did do one thing that I really appreciated, and that
He did
was
good things with the PA.
Well, I'm referring to the time he beat the shit out of a fan with his shoe.
With the shoe.
He provided us that, so I guess.
Then again, 70s.
You take the good with the bad, Jake.
70s. Way different game.
Yeah, it's a different game, different time. Guys went up in the stands and beat the shit out of people with their shoes all the time. It was just it's a different era.
Richard Riot's era, like, oh boy. So the whole never played the game thing is such a soft argument.
Tim could have just destroyed Spector in this argument, and he just kind of didn't. Like, he had the potential to, and he just didn't.
It's weird, right? Because there's the never played the game part of it, which you can just hear from literally any beer leaguer.
Yeah.
As a shit ass argument. Like, no offense to people that I know that play, like Mav and guys like that. Right?
Yeah, no, it's a shit argument to be like, you need to play. If you play, you know more. No, you don't.
There's a reason why we watch so intently and we try to learn things. That's the point of learning about a sport. Right?
There's advantages to having not played and being able to how you view the game.
Oh, dude, I feel like, as someone who literally can't do any contact sports, like, I feel like I can do enough research to understand as much as anybody could.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I didn't like that argument. I don't want people to think that I ended up on Mark Spector's side of this. I thought his question was a shit question. I thought him reaching out to Tim Peel was dumb too.
Plus, you're going through this with two guys that they come from way different backgrounds in regards to how they work around hockey.
Yeah, it's like,
because you hear the 35 years thing.
Tim Peel is like, I don't get the shock with Mark Spector. He asked a dumb question and then he got mad at Tim Peel for piling on. Like, do you know who Tim Peel is? Like,
right.
Where's the shock here?
Tim Peel, up until he got unceremoniously let go the way he did.
Yeah.
He spent 19 years as a referee in the show?
NHL for a long time. Like, don't get mad at Tim Peel for doing the things that he was asked to do as a ref.
Just because you spent 35 years as a writer, Mark, doesn't give you the right to be like, oh, you spent less years reffing than I have writing. Like, I have more credentials than you do.
Also, like, yeah.
Why is that a pissing contest? Like
the other thing is, like, it would be like someone bragging about being a manager in a sport longer than someone played. And it's like, well, yeah, like the length that you can do that is so much longer.
The longevity of
fighter at a younger age and right until you're like 80. You can't start like as a 4-year-old as a ref in the NHL and do that until you're 80. You know what I mean? Like, so we talk about like 35 years. Has there ever been a ref in the history of the NHL who's done it for 35 years?
The longest I can think of, at least in terms of guys that are still doing this now, funnily enough, is Chris Lee, who's done it for like 21, 22 years.
That's still 14 years off of Mark Spector's writing career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pick it up. Longest serving.
And not to mention, Maddie had been like Jim Matheson had been covering the Oilers since what? Like way longer than Spec has.
Serving ref in NHL history was Bill McCreary, who did it for 26 years.
26 years. I remember when that dude was reffing late.
It's still 9 years less. Like you're talking about two totally different professions that have totally different shell lives for them. So that's also just a bad argument. I don't know. You get a matchup of two obnoxious people who are very unlikable going after each other, and they did it in just the most on-brand way possible, didn't they?
I'm trying to look for longest tenured like writer, right? And all I'm getting is longest tenured captains, longest tenured players, longest tenured head coaches.
Okay, I know writing and announcing are different, but like think about just in terms of Rick Jenneret.
Think about Rick. You think about Doc.
For
You
50
think
years.
about.
I know that writing and announcing are two different things, but
Yeah.
they do come from the same tree, perhaps, of meat and whatnot. So like, you can do that for a long, long, long time. You're not a ref in the NHL for that long. It's kind of a similar arc as a player career.
Yeah, pretty much, because you need to have that athleticism element to it, right?
If you do it for 15 years, it's an insanely successful.
That's still a really successful career.
Yeah.
Regardless of how your calls go, like you did it for 15 years.
15 years in a sport is an incredible achievement.
It's like, you look, again, going back to the broadcasting thing as an example, I would say the top three that I think of in terms of the longevity, right? Just off the top of my head, I don't immediately think of Rimmer, but like maybe you'll eventually come up with him. But like you think of Doc, you think of Rick,
Think of Sam Rosen.
think of Sam Rosen, think of oh my gosh, Pat Foley, the Blackhawks. Because he did it for a super long time.
People aren't like this, but you think of Jack Edwards.
You do think of Jack Edwards. He's been there for ages.
He's been there for a long time. And he is, whether you like it or not, he is iconic.
He is, yes.
But even like some of the people,
Marty Brenneman, friggin'
the people who do it nationally, for TSN or for CBC, Bob Cole. Just a truly iconic voice,
Houston's been doing it for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he is. I like his voice.
I like Jim Houston
enough in terms of like really, really good announcers. I like his voice.
Yeah, I like Jim Houston a lot. But this is the point, right? Is the longevity argument is also very flawed.
Yeah, it's very flawed.
And
I know he got started, but Brendan Burke with the Islanders is going to be around for a long time. He's going to be in that discussion in like 40 years when he's been doing it for a super long time, and he's been incredibly iconic throughout the whole process of it.
I think Mike Maniscalco can do that with Carolina too.
Yeah. And who is their old guy who's now in Seattle? What's his name?
Oh yeah. John Forsland, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it for ages and ages.
For forever. And he's really good at it too. So
Doc just retired 2-3 years ago?
I want to say it was after the COVID season.
Little longer. So yeah, about 3-4. But Doc had been doing it since the friggin' at least the 90s, right?
Yeah, he's been doing it since, TV went into color, it feels like.
Yeah, because like he here's another one that's like super iconic. Gary Thorne.
Yeah, Gary Thorne.
Oh, Gary Thorne, I miss you. I miss you doing hockey games at least.
Hockey games, but still gave us the most iconic bowling call. Even though he just gave like a couple words and then it was followed by Pete Weber.
Who do you think you are? I am. We are going to wrap this. And because happy Thanksgiving
Happy
to
Thanksgiving.
our American friends out here. Sorry, you Canadians are. You already had that.
You already had Thanksgiving, but hey, I hope you have some tasty moose this weekend.
On your Thursday, on your bland regular Thursday.
Yeah. Enjoy those Black Friday deals. Whether if you're an Ohio State or Michigan fan, I just hope that neither team has fun on Saturday. I know I'm not gonna have fun watching it. I'm gonna be miserable the whole time.
It is rivalry week, isn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully Ohio State wins, not just so they win, but also so I can enjoy the rest of my Saturday watching other college football games. Because if they lose, I won't be able to.
What are you thankful for? We've been doing this for 3 years, and I never actually asked you this. What are you thankful for this year, man?
I'm thankful for people who watch and listen. Believe it or not, I am thankful for the Blue Jackets for existing. Even though
yes, because I mean, like, where would we be without that?
Thankful for Johnny
doing this,
picking us.
Thankful for Adam Fantilli for wanting to be here, even as early as being drafted.
Thankful for Torts. He gave us our best years.
Yeah, he did, and that was really cool to see him. You know, be swell with the guys in the hall.
Him, he's doing a thing again with the Flyers, man. Good for him.
Yeah, he is. That's good for him.
I'm thankful for Mel. She is pretty cool, I suppose.
I need to meet her at some point. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that'll happen at some point.
Eventually, and as I begin my list, I am thankful for you, believe it or not, because God,
believe it or not, that wasn't even a question. I knew you were.
It's not a question because I don't know. Where would the other 6 point whatever percent of this podcast be without you?
We'll say 6.9% so we can get a cheap.
So say it's pretty nice.
I do a nice amount of work for.
Yeah, you do. Thankful for the network because, like, oh my God, these people behind the network, like, not just people that we've had with Jeremy and Laura from the get-go, and Neil, and obviously Kyle and Dylan for running things behind the scenes, but everybody that we've interacted with so far.
I'm thankful for Canon for existing, because if the Canon didn't exist, we might not even know each other. Funny enough, it's legitimate. Where would we meet up? We're meeting outside of section 200. No, we're meeting by the Canon.
That's the landmark, right?
It's the landmark. So thankful for that.
Thankful for that thing, absolutely, and for you, for Kat, because she's also very wonderful for me. Very just thankful for hockey, that this sport even exists to begin with.
Yeah, wish the league was better, but thankful that it's a fun sport that I have.
Wonderful sport. The worst league.
Yep.
That's how we end these things. Like, make it fall a little flat, right?
Yeah. You never want to end on a good punch. You want to end on one that just slightly lands on someone's ribs.
Make it taste just a little dry, which hopefully our turkey doesn't this year.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Gravy's a hell of a. Is gravy a condiment?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this a hot dog a sandwich?
That's not even like me trying to it's not even a gotcha question. I'm just genuinely curious. It's a condiment because it doesn't come in like bottles or little packets and stuff like that. But I don't know.
I mean, it would be better coming out of a Red Wings themed Zamboni, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Dude, have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I'm so jealous of the fans that are going to get that. But obviously we're thankful for all of you guys. We're thankful for more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we hope that you guys that are loyal enough to stick with us, as irritating as we may be, that we keep you guys entertained and irritating. What? No, never. Share us around still, like we're not going anywhere, but we're going into more eyeballs and more ear holes. So that was really wow.
Yeah, that
Should have ended that 30 seconds ago. Anyway, yeah, please share us around. Hit the subscribe buttons, the like buttons, all of that fun stuff. Follow the Twitters, follow all the socials, and we'll see you when we see you next. It's all around.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.